Alright, been waiting a while on this one. We are finally going to be doing the transmission today. I'm not going to get it done today, but I am going to start putting it in, or taking the old one out and whatnot, cleaning out the old lines. Liam's going to help for a little while, but music off. This thing hasn't been started in a while. Now the thing with this one, since it's leaking, I'm going to show you guys. If I put it in drive, it doesn't move. It has to build because the torque converter is leaking. So I have to throw it in neutral and then move it forward. So I'm going to go get the bike parked, the daily driver. Gonna go get this thing parked. I'm still waiting. I'm probably gonna go Wednesday and get the exhaust welded. I have another video for you guys on this thing. So we're just gonna set it here next to the other one. Otis should be gone this week. I just gotta pull the hood, the rear axle, and the fuel tank, and then this whole thing is getting taken as is. So there's still some good parts on it, but basically they just needed the frame. There's still a steering box and all that shit. So, and then this thing, I don't know what to do with this yet. I think there's a wasp nest kind of growing on the inside in there, so we'll take care of those as time goes on. We just got rid of the doors yesterday, and I still have a drive shaft and a transfer case. So besides that, let's get this thing pulled over, and wife's gonna bring me back so I can take this back to the shop, because this is gonna be sitting there all day. Alright, I just got it back in the shop. I was going to show you guys kind of what it does, but you've seen enough videos. Basically, it just doesn't lock up. So when it does lock up, it'll hold it at a decel, but once you start accelerating, the torque converter was always slipping. I do know at this point that it is the torque converter because, well, it's just kind of obvious when it makes noise. Anytime it goes into lockup, it kind of has a humming noise. So we know that the converter's bad. Probably needs a front pump seal. The trans itself is okay, but you know, it's seen some high temperature, so it might, you know, classify for a rebuild. So while we are in here tearing down the trans, I pop the hood because I'm going to be taking all of the sound deadening and all of the insulation out of this bad Larry, and we did just fix a coolant leak, so I do need to pressure wash the engine bay and potentially throw the new belt and stuff on. I also went and got the shroud, so I now have a shroud and whatnot. So that's going to be nice. While we're in here, I am also going to be pulling everything out of this thing. This thing is no longer going to be a mobile rig per se. We're still going to do mobile, but I am going to be upping the setup. So next year when we do bring the mobile back, I am going to be getting an enclosed trailer or some sort of a trailer to make this easier, because I want to be able to use this truck for other things. So we're going to be pulling this box out of here and moving this setup into something else, which allows me to use the gooseneck. The only thing we are keeping is this aux tank here. We're going to get rid of the air compressor and all the stuff that's hanging from the back light. So basically all you're going to see is an aux tank, the headache rack, and a gooseneck hitch. So that's all we're keeping. But with that being said, I need to get this thing done by tomorrow. So it's already halfway through the day, so I got to get the other wheel off potentially. I don't know. I might actually be able to get in there without taking the wheel off. I need to take the other wheel well off so I can get all the torque converter bolts, and then we're going to pull everything down slowly and surely. If somebody has a stock set of front springs, please let me know, because we are going to be putting this back down to stock level, and we're going to be reverse leveling the rear. Since I don't tow with this thing as much, I really like the lowered look that my old truck had, so we're just going to bring the suspension down. I'm probably going to drop it, you know, to like right about here, and potentially we're going to take off the fender flares. And the reason I'm saying about removing them, we do have to get some rust fixed back behind the arches, and I have a guy for it. So we're just going to take all this off, and he's going to end up doing the rust repair for us, and we're just going to end up doing away with the fender flares. I'm going to keep them just in case I ever decide to throw them back on, in case I get too many tickets or whatnot. But Other than that, I am, let's just start pulling this thing apart. We're going to slap the music on, and all right, so it always has to end up an absolute shit show with my own stuff as opposed to like other people's stuff. Other people's stuff seems to go pretty well, except that red truck. That one did fight me a little bit. So we got this off. I got the drive shaft out. I actually had to go and cut one of the bolts because Dodge uses really, really shitty bolts. I don't know why, but they're really, really, really easy to strip. And I went through a couple of different sockets figuring out which ones worked. But I got 3 of them out. They were super, 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 super tight. So we got all those out. Even my Milwaukee Impact wouldn't break them free right away. So I am going to be getting the pinion seal and a transfer case seal while I'm in here. So I'm actually going to call and order one of those today. And I want to have, by 5 o'clock, I want to have the trans out and on the ground. So that's going to be the goal today. Trans out, and then tomorrow the goal is going to be trans in. Now usually automatics go in a lot easier than manuals. Manuals, you got to fight that little input shaft. On the automatics, you don't really have to do that as long as you line up the flex plate. And I know a lot of guys said, you know, go get the billet flex plate. I agree with you guys. In the time frame that we have, I'm not going to do that. So no billet flex plate. We are just going to reuse the factory one. I'm not planning, I say this now, I'm not planning on a ton of horsepower, but you know, if we ever do go with a second gen swap, which for you guys that don't know what a second gen swap is, that's basically you're just getting an exhaust manifold that puts the turbo in the middle. That's all a second gen swap is. I think someone in the comments thought it was a whole motor swap. It's not. It's literally you're just getting a manifold that puts the turbo in the center. Whether it's up, down, middle, it doesn't matter as long as the turbo's in the center. So we might do that eventually, but I still got to get a set of injectors for this thing and some front springs. So I'm going to start chugging away at the rest of this. Next thing is let's get the transfer case and the front drive shaft off. All right, so this is where we got for the day. Not going to lie, this was an absolute shit show. So we are ready to pull the trans for tomorrow. I did not have to take the wheel well or any of that stuff out. But here's where we're at. So everything's off. I have the 2 bottom bolts in, so it didn't go anywhere. And I can't get the transfer case bolts because one is on the very top on the other side, and then one is squeezed right in between there, which you cannot get a wrench up in there. Yeah, I really can't show you. But all the other stuff, electrical connectors, I'm going to be replacing this one. Remember, if you guys remember when I bought this truck, I did buy a connector. I just never put it in, so that's chilling. Show you guys, that is chilling up under here. Somewhere. I know I threw it in here somewhere, but you get the point. I threw it up under there, and the nice thing about the 4-wheel drive trucks is I can come right here and just lay up under here, and you can see a direct shot to the hole. Do that. I'd slide up under there. The impact fits, no problem. So unlike the 2-wheel drive trucks where they're really, really tight, this one was actually super easy. I did not have to take any of that stuff off. But where it lacks here, it fought me back there. It took me an hour and a half just to get the rear drive shaft bolts out and the front drive shaft bolts out. And then what happened, the front drive shaft was so seized to the transfer case, that flange, I actually I was beating on it for a minute, so I decided to try something. I put it in 4 low and then put it in drive and just let it kind of like the torque do that while I had the brakes on, and it snapped it right free. So little tip for the future, if you guys can't figure that out, I definitely had to do it. Also, yeah, so there you go. Not too bad, not great either. So I will let you guys know tomorrow where we're at, and then Liam has been cleaning all the stuff out of the bed. These 4 crates are gonna go. That's coming off, and that's coming off, and then these 2 need to go sit down somewhere. I don't know what to do with the crane yet. Everything's right here. This is Josh's drive shaft. We're gonna go get that rebuilt for his NV 5600 swap, and then which that should be here. His NV 5600 should be here, I think, this Friday. So there's my transmission sitting over there. I actually got all the bolts out, and there was 5, and I'm like, I thought there was 6. And I spun it all around, and none of them, and I couldn't find the one, so I went over there to check. There is 6, and I spun it the whole way back around, and I was able to find the other missing one. So, like I said, we'll come back and tackle this tomorrow. This truck, I'm pretty much going to be working on it, I think, all week, because tomorrow I want to get the trans in. We still need to do this, so while the truck's here, I want to get all this stuff done. We got to get the transmission wired. I got to get the rear seal and the transfer case seal. I completely forgot to order those. But I will figure that out tomorrow because I'm not super worried about it. Usually they keep them in stock and they can deliver them. So let's skip this forward to tomorrow. All right, here's where we are at. The transmission is out. It made an absolutely huge mess, but it's all right. Torque converter is draining in there. Trans, you know, it's okay. I'm gonna start swapping some things over there. We have the electrical connection to make right here. So I'm going to get that installed as well with the lockup switch, and we're going to get the lines cleaned out, hopefully get this transmission in, and then this transfer case. This nut down underneath is kind of a pain. I understand you should use all 6, but I am definitely not going to be putting that one back in, just in case I got to do this on the side of the road or something. Just makes it easier. So we're just going to throw the 5 and just ignore that bottom one. Pull this mount off, put it on the new trans, get all the sensors and everything, move everything over, and we'll be all right. All right, so we got it done. You guys knew I was going to do a nice job on that. So we have this here, a little bit of bulge up here, but I didn't have enough to get that, so we're gonna do this wire too. I'm gonna loom that. I reloomed that one there, so now we're pretty much ready to just throw the new trans up in. So I'll show you guys what that looks like, and then we're also going to bleed out the old transmission lines. So probably get some brake clean, spray that in there, and then some pressurized air, clean those all out, and then we will go from there. But yeah, that looks a lot nicer than that. I don't even know. Alright, so I have skipped a lot of stuff. I haven't showed you guys anything, but we got the new trans in, we got the transfer case. Everything's done on the trans side. We're just waiting on some fluid to show up, and then we're good to drive the thing. So I also got all that ripped out. And I got all the stuff out of the fan. You guys can see, I clean this engine bay off pretty good. But all that is done and taken care of. You can see all the crap. And then old belt, new belt. That's what was stuck in the fan. There was a bunch of it. So I'm gonna get this thrown on. Tensioner's good, all the pulleys are good. Everything spins all right. That spins a lot better, it was just rubbing on plastic. But everything down here is good. I'm gonna check. See if I can't get my hand in there to get all that stuff out. Everything's spinning all right. We got a little burn there, but new belt, tensioner, and that's on there. I'm telling you guys, I am very bad at keeping up with what I need to film and whatnot. So Bertha's done. We're going to pick up a case of ATF +4 now to throw in it. I've gotten everything organized, which I'll show you when we get back to the shop. This was a paint vehicle. We got to take this down to the other shop and drop this off. So that's basically what we're doing this morning, and then we got to go do some organization. If you guys need any shop repair work, is basically what we're going to be focusing on, as opposed to any of the mobile stuff. We're probably going to put the mobile stuff on hold for the rest of the year, and you know, a little bit early, but pretty much next year I think we're going to try to go with the enclosed route. So I am currently searching for an enclosed trailer now, but let's just get this Chevy down to where it needs to go, and then we're heading back. Alright, a little update later. Everything's getting moved around. I am slowly pulling everything out of this. I had a cart, he just took it because he's moving his toolbox. But all of this is getting organized, and that mess over there is getting organized. We're working on, like I said, pulling everything out. Bertha moves, so let's get some injectors for it. I got to do the warranty paperwork on the transmission and eventually take that in to get tint, because that back window is, you can see so much. But all that stuff, I am going to sell a couple of things. These three things work. I don't want them, I don't need them, and I'd rather sell them to somebody who needs them as opposed to scrapping them, because I don't use them at all. I use my Milwaukee stuff. So we have a full set of SK wrenches on standard and metric, so we got both of those. Like I said, slowly organizing everything. Still don't have a box, but we have this whole bucket to clean out. We have all this to clean out and organize, go through it. I'm gonna pull all these little yellow bins out. We're gonna organize those. Air compressor, probably just take that home, you know, use that for like the bike tires and whatnot. But other than that, we're getting there slowly. But organization, I'll get you guys a test drive later with Bertha, with the new trans. And I've never actually gotten to hear this truck with an actual full lockup converter. So also these little LEDs, they keep popping out for some reason. So far, here's where we're at with the organization. A lot of this stuff over here. Now, I'm not getting rid of the setup. I am simply removing it from this vehicle. Now, I did think about building a bottom and putting it on there, but I don't think we're gonna do that. So this is either going to go in a enclosed, or I'm gonna move it up there, but obviously without the same setup. But I would like to reuse this setup because it was really nice. The only downside, I do need to make a workaround on things. Sometimes things would like to go into other things, and I wanna try to keep this as organized and nice and neat as possible. You guys can see, like, I really did a number putting that in there. So it's kind of been hard to remove it, but I'm trying slowly and steadily. All right, might just pull this stuff off here. I did do a inside and outside layer. Hopefully it comes off nicely. Some spots it is, some spots are fighting me. I didn't prep it all that great, so it should just come right off. All right, I'll lift it off. And for all the people wondering, no, I didn't ruin a good bed. This thing's, you can see that, it's pretty rusty up in here. So it's a work truck. It's not really a big deal. So like I said, there is everything. All this stuff came off in pretty decent chunks. So I'm gonna get the rest of this either migrated into a bucket or moved over. And oh yeah, that's pretty bad, but it is what it is. If I have to, I'll just get another bed down the road. In the meantime, I'm definitely gonna get the front section fixed. I don't know what's under here. I don't know if it's rusty or not. You know what? Let's try to take a peek. You can't really see, but I don't know if there's rust under there or not. I still need, if one of you guys has like a stock set of springs that you want to trade in the front, let me know. I'll gladly give you that. We also have these here. These are lift springs, I believe for a 3rd gen. And then also, I think these were actually mine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these were mine. One of them was. So if anybody wants any of this stuff or wants to trade for anything, I want to bring this down. So now that I'm not doing Hotshot, I don't have to worry about it being up so high. And honestly, when it was reverse leveled, that was too low for Hotshot. But for what it is, the most we're going to have in here is, you know, maybe 2,000 pounds tops, if that. And keep in mind, you know, a couple hundred of that is the aux tank. So, all right, so for now, you guys can see somebody's patched that before. I got excited because I saw all the white. I was like, oh yeah, that's good. And then I look at it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to run without them or if I'm going to put them back on, but I definitely want to check out the other side and just see. And you guys know the look I like, you know, drop down 20 by 12. So these are 22 by 12s, but I'm going to take the well, same thing on this side. So, yeah. Oh, there you go. I'm going to send some pictures to my guy and see what he wants to do about that. I know the door, we probably have to replace the door because that's what it is right there. So we'll ignore the door. Oof. Oof. Double oof. All of the oof. Don't want to spill any of that. Good transmission fluid. So this is the rocker damage on this side, which isn't that bad. We have to get this fixed and all of this, which isn't bad. That really? Okay. And then we also need, we're gonna do a roll pan, and this side's the bad side. So we'll see. I'm gonna get a quote on that. The inside rocker's gone as well. I guess it's pretty bad. But those are the worst parts, I think, and the front door. So I'm gonna get this washed real quick. I'm gonna wipe down all the crap so it's not as obvious. I put the mirrors down, and we're gonna bring this thing down a little bit more. So hope you could enjoy this. I know it's all over the place. We are going to be hopefully, I know I keep saying it, but shop soon, hopefully. But for what it is, there you go.